Here is the culprit count for this book, and here's the culprit count for all the books so far.
Argofont Book Review, Argofont Book Review.
Case 1. Mr. Body mistakenly believes he has shot Mr. Green. Scarlet has blue gloves, Plum has yellow gloves, Peacock has blue gloves, and Mustard has yellow gloves. The shooting happened 10 minutes ago. Peacock and Plum both claim they saw Scarlet at the time, and Body remembers the culprit has blue gloves. Who did it? Well, the color of the gloves tells us it must be Scarlet or Peacock. Scarlet's alibi is that Plum saw her, so Peacock must be the culprit. The trick is realizing Peacock lied about seeing Scarlet just to cast suspicion on her. Case 2. Mr. Green is teaching a class about money, which is constantly interrupted. Mr. Body folds up a bill and puts it in his pocket. Then a lot of money changes hands. Scarlet gives Plum 2 bills, Peacock steals 1 from Plum, and Plum steals 2 from Peacock. Plum and Scarlet both give Peacock a bill, Peacock gives Scarlet a bill, and White gives Scarlet 3 bills. At the end of it all, Peacock and Mustard have 1 bill, Plum has 2 bills, White has 3 bills, and Scarlet has 4 bills. Who did it? This case has a trick solution. Body's bill was folded in half, and Mustard's bill is the only one with a crease, so he's the culprit. Case 3. The guests are playing tug of war. When the rope moves left, Mustard yells to stop. Plum responds, shouting over his shoulder. Peacock says her team is winning. Directly across from her is Scarlet. The game ends when Green is dragged across the line. Who is on what team? Oh boy, this is a doozy of a puzzle. If Scarlet and Peacock are directly facing each other, they're in the 2 middle spots. When the rope went left, Peacock was winning, so she's on the left, Scarlet is on the right. When the rope went left, Mustard and Plum were losing, so Mustard and Plum are also on the right. Plum had to speak over his shoulder to talk to Mustard, so Mustard is behind Plum. The game ended when Green went across the line, so Green is at the far end, leaving White in the middle left. Case 4. While White is out of town, Scarlet uses a deadly toothbrush. Mustard is trapped outside the building. He tries to get Peacock's attention, but she barricades the door. He tries to get Plum's attention, but ends up knocking Plum unconscious. Then he sees somebody rob Miss Scarlet. Who did it? By process of elimination, it must be Green. All the other characters have alibis. Case 5. Peacock is standing on her head when everyone else tries to steal her upside-down penny. I'm not sure how to describe this case. You have to reread carefully and realize Green and Scarlet have the wrong colored shoes. Plum left the room before the penny was mentioned, so he wouldn't want to steal it, and White gives away her identity with a noisy video game. Therefore, the culprit is Mustard. Case 6. Mr. Body is ordered to seat the guests according to these rules. Alternate by gender, White not next to Mustard or Plum, and stop there! This puzzle's impossible to solve. White cannot sit next to 2 men without being next to Mustard or Plum. It doesn't work, and in fact the solution shows her next to Plum, so the solution doesn't match the clues. Bad mystery. Case 7. At the masked ball, everyone is wearing their own color. Purple steals an envelope full of money. Scarlet robs Purple, Yellow robs Scarlet, White robs Yellow, Green robs White. Just to make things more complicated, the book tells us all the various dancing pairs, which shuffle around a lot. As it turns out, somebody stole the money from the envelope before the ball started. Who is the culprit? The culprit already knew the envelope was empty, so the culprit is the only one who didn't try to take the envelope, Mrs. Peacock. Case 8. The culprit leaves a threatening message, promising to kill Mrs. Peacock at midnight. The characters bumble around trying to figure out who has a motive and trying to protect Peacock. Somebody shoots her from outside the house. Who is it? You have to reread carefully to notice Miss Scarlet is the only one who never said anything in this chapter. Therefore, she is the culprit. Everybody else is an idiot. They didn't notice Miss Scarlet was missing the whole time. Case 9. 2 culprits want to commit murder. They agree to kill on alternating weeks while the other one is away. The first week, someone tries to kill Plum while Green and Peacock are away. The second week, someone tries to kill Scarlet while Peacock and Mustard are gone. The third week, someone tries to kill White while Green, Peacock, Plum, and Scarlet are gone. Who are the culprits? Mustard is the only person who's there on the third week, so he must be the culprit. It's pretty easy to identify a culprit when 4 of the people are missing and the other person is a victim. As for Mustard's accomplice, you can rule out all the victims. You can also rule out Peacock because she was gone all 3 weeks. Therefore, the accomplice is Green. Case 10. The guests play telephone. Green talks to someone, who talks to Peacock, who talks to Body, who talks to a guest, who talks to a guest, who talks to Green, who talks to the culprit. The culprit kills Body that night. Who did it? I'm sorry to say that this mystery is also impossible to solve. Once again, the clues don't match the story. The solution says Green mentioned Plum and Scarlet, so he's not talking to them. That didn't happen. Neither Plum nor Scarlet are ever mentioned in the story. You can't solve a mystery if the solution depends on clues that aren't in the mystery. Mustard was the culprit, by the way. Here's the end of book culprit count for the series so far. Mr. Body always dies in the final case, so that means the end of book culprit is the true culprit. The end. Post-book follow-up? I didn't like this book as much as the others. There are 2 cases that are impossible to solve. That is a major editorial oversight. The dollar bill and stolen envelope solutions were trick puzzles. Readers are led to believe you have to keep track of all the various swaps, when the real solution is to pick up on a smaller detail. Is it wrong that I prefer the keep track of all the swaps puzzles in previous books? Similarly, 2 of the solutions depend on rereading carefully. While those are fair puzzles, I prefer the logic puzzles. This is a logic puzzle series, after all. The weapons and the rooms were not important to any of the puzzle solutions, which is weird because every puzzle comes with a weapons and rooms card. Well, those are my complaints for the book. It's not the worst book ever, but it's clearly the worst one of the series so far, and I cannot give a thumbs up to a mystery book which has 2 solutions that are impossible to solve. So I give clue number 4, Mystery at the Masked Ball, a thumbs down.